He is Jalen Rose. I am David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we do?
We give the people what they want.
We have Aaron Rodgers against Tom Brady. We have Nick Nurse, the head coach of the Toronto Raptors, joining us later in the program. But we start with some huge news for the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. They have picked up none other than LeVeon Bell to add him to the roster. What does this mean for the defending champs?
I think LeVeon Bell going to the Jets made people forget how he was an amazing dual threat weapon. First off, 3-down back carrying between the tackles, patient as they come. But also line him up like a wide receiver, and he was amongst the top 10 players in the league as it related to catches when he was in Pittsburgh. Okay, financially he had to hold out to get his bread. Then he had to go to the Jets to make sure he earned his $28 million. But once you get your money, and if you look down at your phone and it says Andy Reid or Eric Bieniemy or Patrick Mahomes, you go sign immediately. Immediately. They still got the cheetah, right? Kelsey, Hartman, who's going to be filling in for Watkins, Edwards-Helaire in the backfield. And who's under center? Where my homie? This is a great move for LeVeon Bell and the Chiefs.
It's a great move to add him to Clyde Edwards-Helaire because we all remember week one when Edwards-Helaire had 138 yards and we were like, wow, Patrick Mahomes has a new weapon. Well, guess what? Edwards-Helaire hasn't been great since then. He's only had 206 rushing yards since week one, and he has had the ball in his hands with 2 or less yards to get into the end zone 9 times, and he has failed to score every single one of those 9 times. I think this is crucial for the Chiefs, and this, once again, after a tough loss to the Raiders, makes them the team to beat in the AFC because they didn't just lose to the Raiders. Remember, they didn't really score that well against the Patriots defense, and it took overtime for them to get over the Chargers. This is huge for the Chiefs, and also, Bieniemy and Reid don't need more weapons to play with. Like you said, they've got so many weapons at the skilled position between Kelsey, and they've got Hill, and they've got Hardman, and now they've got Bell and Edwards-Helaire. Both backs can catch really well out of the backfield. This means a lot for the Kansas City Chiefs. Does this make them your Super Bowl favorites, Jalen?
Now it does, Jacoby. I was always paying attention to what was going to happen with the Ravens. But now that you add LeVeon Bell, and I love your short yardage stat, and because that's who LeVeon Bell is. He's patient. He's a veteran, Jacoby. He knows how to find pay dirt. And again, you can have what you're seeing right now from the Saints, the way they're doing with Murray and Kamara, that's exactly what KC can do with these 2 backs. So absolutely, they were already a lot of people's favorite against the field to win it all. But now adding him, and you know how much on defense I love the Honey Badger. That's my guy. I do now have to bow down and feel like I would pick the Chiefs versus the field.
I would as well, especially with the way that the Ravens have started their season. I'm curious to see if they will ever put Clyde Edwards-Helaire and LeVeon Bell on the field at the same time and maybe motion one out as a receiver or something. I want to see that happen. There's just so many weapons for Mahomes. It doesn't even feel fair.
At the same time.
Jalen, we also have some big personnel news in the NBA. Ty Lue has been announced as the head coach of the Los Angeles Clippers. Jalen, they have championship expectations. What do you think this means for the Clippers?
Well, it shows you simply what played out in Houston is what we alluded to yesterday on the show, was that Jeff Van Gundy lives in the Houston area. He's friends with that owner. And a lot of times, when you're the owner and you see P.J. Tucker at 6'5" playing center, and then your squad adds Russell Westbrook, and you double and triple down on the small ball and the D'Antoni ball and the Morey ball, either you got to continue to reinvest in that or you got to blow it up. And so Tyronn Lue, I felt like, was never going to lead the Clippers. I felt like that was always his job. That's why it was genius for Doc Rivers to bring him on his staff, so that now if something did happen to Doc Rivers, which it did, and now he got a job with the Sixers, now Tyronn Lue doesn't isn't in the position of musical chairs trying to find a good job. He gets a chance to coach one of the best players, Kawhi Leonard, for one of the best owners in Ballmer. So it's a win-win for everybody involved. Houston's going to get their guy, I believe. The Clippers now have their guy. He's going to have Chauncey Billups as his lead assistant. I think that's a great move for the Clippers.
Jalen, one thing that's really important for these Clippers is just how much has changed in a year. Do you remember when they got PG and Kawhi? We were like, wow, there are now two dynasty teams in Los Angeles. Well, guess what? PG and Kawhi are both free agents at the end of this season. Do you think that makes added pressure on Lou to retain those two or re-sign those two?
Nah, because he signed for 5 years. Okay, so he's locked in. And he understands that there are going to be some roster changes. When you look deeper into the Clippers, Lou Will, Montrezl Harrell, those opportunities won't be safe anymore. When you give up what you gave up for Paul George, he's still going to be there. He's still an elite performer in the game. You don't just trade and get better than Paul George. And so Tyronn Lue, I think his ability to communicate and his experience of dealing with LeBron James and winning a championship as a head coach, I think now is going to allow the Clippers to ease into those expectations. Because like you said, I was one of those people. Oh, you add Kawhi? Oh, you add PG? Doc Rivers on the sideline? Oh, if they play the Lakers, they're going to beat them. Therefore, the Clippers going to win it all. But wait a minute. They lose to the Nuggets and never even play against the Lakers? Think about it. Tyronn Lue won a championship with LeBron James. The goal was to have him on your sideline when you play against a guy that he should know all of his tricks. They got bounced before they even played against the Lakers. So this is going to be a great opportunity for Ty Lue. I'm glad he found not only a great job, but I think he's got some great players to work with, a contending team, and I think he's going to do some special things with the Clippers.
Well, you alluded to it earlier, but now it is absolutely official that Daryl Morey is no longer the general manager of the Houston Rockets. Jalen, what does this tell you? Read the tea leaves of this move.
A friendly game of dominoes that Daryl Morey wanted them to go really hard after Tyronn Lue. And the owner, who's in communication with Jeff Van Gundy, either you doubling down or not. And when you look at the Houston Rockets next year, they're going to be a traditional basketball team. I don't think they're going to be a team that shoots 2 times more threes than they take twos. I don't think it's going to be a team that only shoots threes, free throws, and layups. I don't think P.J. Tucker's going to be their starting center at 6'5". I don't believe that Russell's going to be their power forward at 6'3". I think it's going to be more traditional. That's why I feel like that'll be a great opportunity for Jeff Van Gundy to go in there and remake what that squad has been over the last few years.
See, I also think that they will go with a more traditional roster, but when you look at the centers that are available on the market or that have options, there's not that much there. I mean, Drummond comes to mind, Gasol comes to mind, Whiteside comes to mind, Plumlee, but I'm curious to see how they will adjust their roster to become more traditional because there's no easy path to do that unless they trade Russell Westbrook. Could you see them trading Westbrook?
Yes, I can. And the word traditional in the sense of today's game where you're either going to have 4 people or 5 people around the three-point line. The Houston Rockets played micro, small, short basketball. That's what we mean when we say traditional. And when you do that, if you're the Houston Rockets, I say this about the Utah Jazz. Don't take the ball out of James Harden's hands. When you add Chris Paul, that's what you're doing. When you add Russell Westbrook, that's what you're doing. In Utah, when you add Mike Conley, that's what you're doing. Let Donovan Mitchell be the primary ball handler, like they did in Denver. Let Murray be the primary ball handler. James Harden ain't about to be moving or cutting or slashing. Let him have the ball, initiate the offense. This guy's led the league in points. This guy's led the league in assists. 3-pointers made, free throws made. He's the only person in the history of his career is going to do that. Okay, that's how versatile and outstanding he's been. You have to keep the ball in his hands.
Sometimes there are videos that need to be broken down in detail, so you and I need to go to the table. The things that we do for our children. Take a look at Mavericks head coach Rick Carlisle and his daughter on TikTok. Jalen, what do you think about Rick Carlisle's dance moves?
I love Rick Carlisle. You know, that's my guy. Taught me how to come off screens, how to play better in the pick and roll action in Indiana. And he's showing his versatility right there. One of the top coaches, championship level coaches, but more importantly, a Hall of Fame dad. I love you, Coach.
He
looking
is
like
the
Jim
greatest.
Carrey.
He does look like Jim Carrey, and his dance moves are just so unabashedly white. I love it so much. We have another head coach joining us right now. Nick Nurse joins the program. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss that.
Last week marked the 6th annual KPMG Women's PGA Championship at Aronimink Golf Club in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, just outside Philadelphia. As the first ever partnership between the LPGA Tour, the PGA of America, and KPMG, the KPMG Women's PGA Championship brought together the best LPGA players from around the world to compete for one of the most coveted major championships in golf. Competing on championship-caliber courses, the KPMG Women's PGA Championship has elevated the women's game to new heights and puts the LPGA players in the national spotlight. And the KPMG Women's Leadership Summit, held the week of the championship, invests in rising women's leaders aspiring to reach the C-suite by providing thoughtful content, tools, and networking opportunities. Together, they serve as catalysts to empower women both on and off the golf course. KPMG, continuing its commitment to the next generation of women leaders and proud sponsor of the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. To learn more, visit kpmg.com/women's leadership.
Coming to you live from Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport District of Manhattan and brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. We have the honor, we have the privilege of being joined right now by the head coach of the Toronto Raptors. Nick Nurse is on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time, Coach.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. Good to see you.
Of course. We always say that success is a function of realistic expectations. How do you think that your Raptors performed against expectations this season?
Well, I think our expectations of what we were going to do were a lot higher than maybe a lot of other people's expectations. We played 22 games the year prior without Kawhi, and we went 17-5. So our guys had some confidence that we were going to perform the way we did this year. Obviously, we would like to have went a little further in the playoffs than we did, but it was a hell of a series with the Celtics.
Congratulations on establishing yourself as one of the top coaches in the game so far, not only winning the championship, but I appreciate how you continue to develop the young players on your roster and maximize their skill. And look no further than Pascal Siakam, who goes from being the most improved player to an all-star level player. But he struggled against the Celtics. What do you think led to him not being able to perform in the playoffs against that team versus how he was able to perform in the regular season?
Well, you know what, Jalen, he was really rolling into March 11th. He was playing great. You mentioned he was an all-star. We had just come back from winning 4 out of 5 on a West Coast trip, and he was wheeling and dealing late in the games and creating all our offense. He didn't respond to the layoff as well. He just didn't play as well, even in the regular season games down there in the bubble. I don't think I'm going to hold that against him. It wasn't easy for everybody handling the pandemic and the time off. We believe in him, and he's going to be a superstar for us.
Coach, in your new book, 15 Teams, 4 Countries, 1 NBA Championship, and How to Find a Way to Win Damn Near Anywhere, you explain a little retreat that you went on with the Zen master, Phil Jackson. What was it like on this retreat, and what did you guys discuss?
Well, first of all, it was really surreal for me, right? I started out as a young coach early in the 90s when the Bulls were the thing. I mean, I was watching every game and reading every book that Phil put out and kind of studying him, and to go out and meet him in Montana and drive around in his truck with him and talk basketball and leadership and life a little bit was surreal for me, man. It was awesome. He's kind of like my mentor. He didn't really know he was my mentor, but he was.
All I know is I would love to get a chance to hang out with Phil Jackson because he probably has some good lettuce when he makes his salad. I'll just say that. How about recently you posted a few throwback videos of you playing basketball. How would you describe your game?
Floored feet would be the first thing. I stayed close to the floor, Jalen. I passed the ball. There's Tony Bennett, man. I didn't like playing against Tony Bennett. Look at those shorts, man. I know you didn't wear shorts like that.
Well, we got a spot on my rec league team for you, Coach. Anytime you want to come by New York City, we got a spot for you. We got a little roster spot for you.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Now, the Eastern Conference is shifting a little bit, and particularly in Brooklyn with the Nets adding Kyrie Irving and KD both coming back from injury. What do you expect from the Nets this upcoming season?
I expect them to be really good. I mean, listen, KD and Kyrie, and don't forget about some of those other guys, man. They've been developing some players as well. I thought they had a great bubble. They were one of the surprise of the bubble. Dinwiddie and LeVert and all those guys they got coming too. Mm-hmm. Joe Harris, Jared Allen. I mean, there's a lot of guys you can name there. And of course, Canadian Steve Nash taking over at the helm. So expecting big things out of the Nets next year, for sure.
Coach, what was one of the more challenging things about the entire bubble experience?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. It was seeing the people you were going to play against. I mean, you know, you were in a tough playoff series, and you come off the elevator, and I'd bump into Brad Stevens, and I'd be, you know, hey, Brad, how was breakfast? How was breakfast today? You know, I mean, I didn't really want to be chopping it up or chit-chatting with him. I was trying to get my competitive game face on, and that was one of the most challenging things. I'm sure you can relate to that, Jalen, for sure.
One of my favorite things about you, Coach, is that you have your own logo. I think you're the only head coach in the NBA with their own signature
and
logo.
It's dope too.
You're wearing it on your hat right now.
It's not
What
whack.
is the story behind your own logo?
Well, it's an NN here. I'm sporting it, as you can see. You can get that to support the foundation if you want to grab one of those. But it started out as a little TM for Travis Matthews, and Nike came by and said, hey, it kind of looks like your initials. Let's make your own NN one. So they made like 4 of them. We produced like 4 of them, and then they kind of caught on in the playoffs last year, and we start selling them through the website. But again, all the money goes to the foundation, helping local kids here in Toronto, for sure.
That's awesome that you continue to give back to the community. Once LeBron James wins his 4th championship and his 4th Finals MVPs, you know how this works. The comparisons to Michael Jordan start to happen. Who do you think is the greatest basketball player of all time?
You can't get me on that one, Jalen. They're absolutely tied at the top, right? I mean, listen, my era is Jordan was the greatest, but man, I've gone against LeBron enough to know that he's the greatest too. It's just two of the greatest players, and man, with all he's done, I usually when I bump into LeBron, I tell him thank you for all he's done for the league. You know, and obviously you do the same anytime you see Jordan, because we're all happy and lucky to be a part of what they've helped create.
You've had the misfortune of going up against LeBron in many, many playoff series. What's it like to prepare to play LeBron James-led team?
Well, it's tough, right? Because you got to come up with a lot of different game plans. And, you know, it's not like plan A and plan B. You got to go down to about E and F, maybe G with him, and you usually end up using all of them because he's seen it all. His vision, his size, his passing make him, you know, really hard to defend. And I always say this: great players make everybody else around him better, and he certainly does that.
He definitely does. So, Coach, you're promoting a book. Now, recently, I saw a hilarious video of Rick Carlisle doing a TikTok video where he was dancing with his daughter. Do you have any plans to do something similar, and or have you seen his video?
I have not seen his video, And no, I will not dance. That is for sure. I might play some music now and then. I might, I dabble in a few instruments, but dancing's not my thing, Jalen. That's for sure. I know my strengths. Know my weaknesses.
Well, Coach, the book is called 15 Teams, 4 Countries, 1 NBA Championship, How to Find a Way to Win Damn Near Anywhere. You can get that. It's available now. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us. When we come back, we will preview some of the biggest games in the NFL. You don't want to miss that. You're watching Jalen and Jacoby.
Got to give the people.
Huge fight Saturday night. Vasily Lomachenko against Teofimo Lopez. That is for the lightweight world title unification. That starts at 10 p.m. on ESPN. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, for the very first time, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers will face off both as members of the same conference. What do you see happening in this big NFC battle on Sunday afternoon?
Injuries may play a big factor. Godwin has been in and out of the lineup. I don't believe Fournette is going to play. On the other side, I think Devontae Adams does return for the Packers, the number one threat of Aaron Rodgers, who's been outstanding this year. Tom Brady, this is a big stage. It'd be awesome for him and their confidence for them to play well, because last seen, they looked dysfunctional, they looked unorganized, and he was putting up 4 after 4th down, and they were walking off the field losing. They got to be a lot better.
I'm going to say that the Packers win this one, and not only that, I'm going to say that this is going to be the first of 2 times that the Packers play in Tampa this season, because that is the location of the Super Bowl. Moving on to the AFC, we have a big game between the suddenly surging Browns and the Steelers, who are still undefeated. Can the Browns win this one?
I want to plant a seed for everybody. I actually took time out of my life and I studied the Cleveland Browns schedule. They're going to get closer to 10 wins than people realize. And if they're able to beat teams that they're not supposed to beat, like Pittsburgh, their rival, that'd be really impressive.
We'll be back on Monday at 2 p.m. to break it all down. We always say we give the people what they want. Part of giving the people what they want is recording podcast exclusive content. Jalen, it's Friday. We have a big weekend coming up. Something happened yesterday that really made me sad. It made me really evaluate my life and where I'm at as a person. Did you see Peyton Manning on the beach? Did you see Peyton Manning? This dude has a 6-pack. Did you see this picture? He's got a full-on 6-pack.
The sheriff.
He's got a full-on 6-pack. Did you expect him to look like that with his shirt off?
I didn't have any expectations, actually, of what Peyton Manning might look with his shirt off.
Okay. It's one of the things, because he's older like myself. But, man. Jalen, we also have some news here. This is interesting to me. Mike D'Antoni is no longer the coach of the Houston Rockets, right? And there's rumors that he could potentially join Steve Nash's staff with the Nets. What do you think about D'Antoni, your former coach, being an assistant with the Nets?
That's going to happen. As somebody that has been in the locker room of both of those guys, Steve Nash was a 2-time MVP under Mike D'Antoni's tutelage. This is his first time as a head coach. It ended up being an indirect perfect storm in a lot of ways for Nash as he took the Nets job. The person who hired him, Sean Marks, was also on that team. And so Mike D'Antoni doesn't have to rush to another job. Indirectly, almost like Ty Lue did joining Doc Rivers' staff. Now you go join the Nets staff, bring your experience, offensively in particular with 2 of the greatest offensive players in the game, in KD and Kyrie, and see if you can maximize their talent. I'm going to just keep throwing this word out there so everybody can get used to it. KD at center. KD at center. It's going to be 2 minutes to go in the game. Get ready. KD going to be out there guarding Giannis. He going to be out there guarding Bam. He gonna be out there being guarded by our stretch mark 5, Jokic, KD at the 5.
I love this Nets roster. I think people are sleeping on the Nets because when you look at the East in the bubble, you know, people are talking about the Celtics and they're talking about the Sixers and the Raptors and the Heat, but people are sleeping on the Nets. The Nets, they didn't look bad without KD and Kyrie. And they've got Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, Joe Harris. Like, I love this Nets roster. I have high expectations for this Nets team. And KD is going to be all the way back from the Achilles because he has had months and months and months to rehab himself and get back. I'm so excited for this Nets. You know what? I think I'm a Nets fan now. I think I'm a Nets fan next year. I think that just happened. I think I'm gonna be a Nets fan next year. You just thought about it? Yeah. I think I'm a Nets fan.
You just thought about it?
I think I'm a Nets fan. Me and you went to the Nets game.
You just decided, huh?
And they were playing the Pacers. And you went to me and you said, who's the best player on the floor right now? And because I remember Oladipo was out, and like everyone was out. I was like, Sabonis? I think. I guess it's not going to be like that next year. First of all, next year they're not going to give us tickets because it's going to be too hard to get tickets. They're not going to invite us to do the live pod before the show, and they're going to have KD and Kyrie. I love it. You know what? I'm a Nets fan. Let's go, Brooklyn.
Well,
let's go.
You got to hit the brakes on a couple of things. Hit the brakes on a couple of things, Reg. First off, there are 30 NBA teams, there are 32 NFL teams. We VIP anywhere all of the time, especially where we reside. So we will be able to do live shows again from Barclays. We will continue to champion until Biggie has a statue in front of the building. We will be back front row, and we will be going one time with ASAP Ferg to drink some Henny, like we said we would.
Oh, man. I would love to do that so much. I would absolutely love to do that. I would love to do that. That was so much fun. Big shout out to everybody at the Brooklyn Nets that hosted us so well on that day when we did a live pod. Jalen, if you call 98580-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail. And if you leave us a voicemail, we'll put it on the show just like this.
Hello, my old familia. This is Baron. I hope you guys are thriving. I have a question as a Yacubian/Caucasian male. I have not had a haircut since Rudy Gobert touched all those microphones back in March, so the salad is currently flowing. I have a lot of hair. Headbands kind of work, but I'm wondering, is it problematic for me to buy a do-rag, even if I only wear it in the confines of my own home? Thanks a lot. Love y'all. See you. Bye.
First of all, big shout to Baron. Damn. He used to work on the show. Former producer of Jalen Jacoby, Baron. Big shout to Baron for checking in. Love that guy. So Baron hasn't had a haircut.
No doubt.
He wants your blessing to buy a do-rag and wear it around the house. Your thoughts, Mr. Rose?
So Baron is our brother, and I'm about to tweet him because now that I think about it, I meant to hit him back yesterday. When I saw that. Thank you for the call, family. We appreciate the love. A couple of things. I love my friends, and I never want to put them in position to look bad. And in 2020, any white dude that's being seen with a do-rag on, for the most part, it'll look like the movie Malibu's Most Wanted. Mm-hmm. It'll look like like he's doing too much, right? But they're really effective. So here's what I would tell you to do, Baron. Definitely get a do-rag.
No.
Just rock it in the crib and don't let nobody see you with it on.
No. Baron, do not
That's
get a do-rag.
how you do it.
Dude, I think there are white people that can pull off do-rags. I don't think Baron is one of them. I don't think I am one of them. Like, I just don't think it's a good match for you, Baron. You get yourself a fitted hat, get yourself a little Dodger cap or something, and you can do it that way. Big shout to Baron. Damn. That guy's the best. Thanks for calling in, Baron. We got time for one more voicemail. Tommy, what do you got?
Hey, Jalen and Jacoby. Shout out, Reg. I'm calling from near Detroit. So I'm wondering, is favorite Halloween candy cultural or regional? And what's your favorite Halloween candy? Because most of the kids in my neighborhood look like Jalen, but I look like Jacoby. I got to make sure I got that good candy for all the kids. So thanks for helping me out, guys. Love you guys. Been listening a long time.
Favorite Halloween candy, Jalen Anthony Rose?
My favorite Halloween candy seems like chocolate, maybe Reese Cups and Heath bars.
I'm going with Kit Kat.
I like
Kit
that
Kat.
more than, yeah. So like when I was young, look at my teeth between my first 21 years before I got paid. I had rock teeth. Right?
Your teeth were socially distancing.
I eat rocks. It looked like.
Your teeth were
they were
socially
distanced. But they are also cracked too. Like one time we was playing pick 'em up, mess 'em up. For anybody that don't know what that is, that's a Midwest football scrum game, right? Where you try to, whoever has the ball, everybody else trying to tackle them. I ain't about to explain the whole game. People who should know. We was playing pick 'em up, mess 'em up, and even though I wasn't a football player, I was an athlete, right? So until 9th grade, whatever season it was, Jacoby, I played that sport. So I did play baseball when I was young. I did play football when I was young. I did play basketball. I played soccer. I ran cross country 4 years in high school. So like whatever it was, I was playing. So just imagine how I was in a neighborhood like basketball or a football game. There are times when my athletic prowess was just dominant. So it's just like I'm Dion. Like you couldn't tell me that I wasn't. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't sticking people like Lawrence Taylor because I was. It was happening. And so we was playing pick 'em up, mess 'em up one time. And I was trying to be too sweet, trying to go up for a catch with one hand type of thing. And by the way, I ain't mad at players that wear gloves in today's game, in particular the NFL. But trust me, if somebody played football in the 70s and the 80s, I just put some of those gloves on to do that Gatorade commercial recently, and I think if I'd have took my hands out of the glove, it still would have caught the ball. I think the gloves catch the ball by itself. Like seriously, dog. I had to do when we was doing commercials, I was like 50 yards. I had to do just throw me the ball. I was running routes. Dog, I just put my one hand up, dog, catch the ball easy. Glove just stopped.
I've never worn one of those gloves.
But one time I was trying to, yeah, dog. Huh?
Never worn one of those gloves.
Yeah, dog, it stopped. It's like stick 'em times 10, dog. It just stopped the ball. Lester Hayes is like, y'all need to give me some royalties. And I tripped. And I cracked my tooth. And I kept playing. But I didn't realize that it was also chipped. And so I'll never forget. I started to relate to people that I felt like had bad teeth. So Too Short, I love this rhymes, but I also love this confidence because I felt like he had teeth like mine. Reggie Miller, same thing. I was like, okay, he got teeth like mine. I'm dead serious.
I'm really glad you brought up this Gatorade commercial because I have some follow-up questions about that. Number one, big shout to Molly, part of the power couple. Okay. Number two, in that commercial, you dunked a basketball. You know what I'm gonna ask, right? Because I know that hoop wasn't 10 feet. No, it wasn't 10 feet.
How far did they have
to bring down the hoop? How far did they have to bring down the hoop so you could dunk it?
So I have an ego, and I knew that commercial was gonna happen. So in my mind, by the time the commercial happened, I'm gonna be able to dunk. You know what I'm saying? Even if it ain't for the commercial, I'm gonna be able to dunk, flat out. I ain't about to be showing up in no Gatorade commercial and can't dunk. I gotta be able to deliver. That's like me not bossing up for the show or not singing. Gotta give the people what they want. So I did a couple of bangs on the 10-foot one, but the problem is when you shooting a commercial, you're gonna have to do it like 40, 50 times. And I just don't have shocks like that. So I probably did like 3 nice ones. And then after that, I'm like, y'all gotta lower this, dog. This ain't about to, I don't know. I don't play in the league. Y'all know that, right? You know what I'm saying? So I had to hit the brakes. I'm like, wait a minute. I know this wasn't the plan. You know what I'm saying? I know the plan. I know one of y'all didn't say Jalen gonna dunk this ball 40 times next Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, which one of y'all said that?
Have y'all seen my highlights? Not exactly a leaper.
Right. I couldn't jump anyway. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they definitely lowered it, and it was a fun shoot. But the other thing is that, like you said, big shout to Molly. It's always dope to do power couple type things. We was on our Gabrielle, Dwayne Wade, throwing shots, catching the football, you know, that type of thing. But I was trying to think of who else that I liked that had bad teeth. It was Too Short, because I had him hanging up on my, it was Too Short, it was Reg. There's a couple more people that I'm missing. Jay-Z, good one.
How are we doing trick-or-treating this year? Because you know I got little kids, right? In the world of COVID, I can't go door to door.
Let me answer.
How do we do this?
Here's what you do, dog. I got you. Your brother's here for you. All you do is get the candy that they want, and y'all just go on a walk together with their costumes on. Do not knock on no doors. Just go for a walk with them.
Yeah, we'll do something like
that. And let them have
their
costumes on.
You know what I did?
Let them put their costumes on. Let them go outside. Right? Let them go outside. And then walk to their favorite destinations. And then you just give them the candy.
Okay. Do you know what I did last year? My kids don't really understand how much candy you could get at Halloween because we always take them to like 5 houses and then go home. That's what we do every year. And last year we just went to like the barber shop, the nail salon, the bodega, and like another place. We're like, all right, we're done. They don't know that you can really cake off with the candy. They always come home with like 7-8 pieces of candy and they're super excited about it. And my kids are forgetful. They forget about the candy the next day and then me and my wife eat it. Every time.
Well, you know what that means.
Every single time.
Let me tell you what that's called, dog. Let me tell you what that's called. And my kids have this too. That's called privilege, dog. Because when you broke, you going to grab handfuls. You grabbing handfuls when you broke. And then you redistributing it. You know, I used to be that dude, like buy, sell, whatever. Like, I'm redistributing it. I know, like, yo, this house right here, they got the whole candy bars. You know what I'm saying? They got the big Snickers. They got the big Hershey's. Like, so we go blow them up.
We always had the older kids in where I grew up. The older kids would steal your candy, so you had to run around in the woods and stuff. Older kids would run around, steal.
But here's the other thing. You want me to really take you behind the curtain on
take me behind
young 10-year-old boy trick-or-treat thoughts?
Take me behind the curtain.
There's certain neighbors, as a young boy, you're really attracted to. And then that's your chance to go knock on the door. Yeah, like the movie Friday. You remember Miss Parker was running down the street and hey, Miss Parker. Okay, so there's always that neighbor, like the lady across the street, for example, that was watering her grass, right? There's always those neighbors.
I didn't have those neighbors.
Oh yeah.
I definitely didn't have those neighbors.
So we'll go over there twice. We'll go over there like 4 or 5 times. Go with different groups of people. like there's more people. I'm gonna go over there again. You know? Like,
Jalen, we will
what up, though?
Be back on Monday. Why is that?
We're not done. We're not done.